Hi again, everybody. Bill Phillips here on a Tuesday, and it is a day that, sad day, somber day, because if you're a fan of Star Wars, Field of Dreams, Great White Hope, Sandlot, you name it, The Lion King, it's James Earl Jones at 93, The Voice. One of those iconic voices that you hear, and he is just an unbelievable force in the world of acting and voiceovers. Was the voice of CNN, and it's a sad day, but 93 years, woof, that's a good run. That's a good run for James Earl Jones. A couple of Tony Awards. James checks in. James, good morning, buddy. How are you doing? Doing well. Doing well. Just a little sad because James Earl Jones is gone, but we'll talk about the collection of movies, collection of audio clips that you can go back and listen to. Just listen to that voice. Listen to him talk. And that was something I figured we'd talk about today, is those voices, maybe the voices that you hear that just they relate automatically to whatever you're doing in terms of whether it's a sport, whether it's an actor, whether it's a politician, the way they speak, the way they deliver a message. Sometimes it's just one of those things where you know exactly who that is and you enjoy listening to them, not only for what they're saying, but also the way they say it, the way they sound. One of the guys, we're in college football season right now, and one of the guys that you always hear people talk about is Keith Jackson, a legendary broadcaster for ABC. He did Wide World of Sports. He did barrel jumping. He made that sound exciting, which it is. But college football, he made sound super exciting on Saturdays. So you had Keith Jackson, his voice. He's been gone for a while now, but we just lost James Earl Jones. So it's one of those things where he had that voice. He had one of a kind voice. I found out last night. Yep, a lot of people found out last night, James. And James Earl Jones gone at 93. Is there a favorite character that you had that he did? I mean, I don't know how you get past Darth Vader. And of course, Luke, I am your father, in that line. And then I saw this morning on X, or formerly the Twitter, where Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker, he reposted a tweet, and then basically he put "Rip Dad with a broken heart," which I thought was very clever and very appropriate for Darth Vader's son, Luke Skywalker, to say goodbye. So, and then you forget about movies. Addison and I were talking about it on the set, and she said, "Oh, I forgot he was in Sandlot." And I said, "Yeah, he's Hercules' owner, the dog, and a former baseball player in the movie." And hi, Nancy. Good morning. Hopefully, all is well with you. And so he was there for that, and he was a baseball player, and in the movie he got hit with a pitch and lost his sight, so he couldn't play anymore. But he was in the movie. He says he was going to be really good, and but yeah, the voice was just was tremendous. And then he had a presence about him that just seemed to carry across stage and screen. But Darth Vader, Mufasa from Lion King, those two characters alone, voiceover. He said he loved to do anything, and the amazing thing was he had a stutter. Donald Trump puts things his own specific way, James. That's true. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, he does put things his own specific way. So you hear his voice too. Most people know who that is right away. All right, Craig, you eating breakfast this morning? Hopefully you're having something good. What are you having this morning for breakfast? You have any you having some eggs, some waffles? You going pancakes? So Nancy, Nancy and Craig just joining in. Do you have a voice that, James Earl Jones is James Earl Jones? I mean, he just has those iconic voices, iconic roles. But we were talking about, maybe you hear something, or you hear, it doesn't, you hear a teacher or somebody like that. But if there's an actor or an actress or a politician or an announcer for things that you hear it and you like, wow, that's that guy. Vin Scully was one of those guys. Vin Scully, of course, the legendary Dodgers broadcaster for years and years and years. And I've talked about this for the love of the game, or love of the game, with Kevin Costner, where he was the play-by-play man for the game in the movie. And it's one of those movies, even if you don't think the movie is that good, and I think the movie's a good movie. But the great thing is you get to hear Vin Scully for a whole ball game, and it's just, it's full of the way he would say things, do things, and I think they gave him the script and said, say it however you would say it. So Vin Scully is one of those guys. Keith Jackson, the play-by-play man for college football, but James Earl Jones with that voice, and it's iconic. It's one of those things where it's just special. I mean, some people have a special look. I mean, Robert Redford, Paul Newman, when they were at the height of their success. It wasn't necessarily their voice, but those guys had a look, and people knew who they were, and they were movie stars. Or Raquel Welch, you saw her, and she didn't have to do anything else. She was a movie star, and she had the looks of a movie star. And there's plenty of people like that today, but the voice is just something that grabs your attention, and you can walk the room and go, okay. Walter Cronkite, of course, who did the news. Kennedy, when he would give speeches, whether you liked him or didn't like his politics. Potatoes from my garden, eggs and sausage. That sounds fantastic. Now, how are you going with the eggs? The eggs over easy, the eggs scrambled, sunny side up, an omelet. Did you anything from the garden, like you get the potatoes, maybe a few onions, cut them up, put them in there? Sounds pretty good. Sounds like a good breakfast. Well, while we're having a breakfast break, we're going to do this real quick. We're going to say hello to our guys in the Gem City of Toronto. We're going to say hello to our sponsors, Valley Converting. Can't thank them enough for everything that they do as they support us in this endeavor of the 9-minute Phill-UP, which always goes overtime. So let's hear from them now.
Every piece of paper has a story. What if that story didn't end when you were done with it?
At Valley Converting, we turn your old paper products into recycled paperboard, continuing the story.
Locally owned and operated in Toronto, Ohio, bringing your paper to Valley Converting isn't just about recycling.
It's about supporting a cleaner, greener future for all of us.
We are here 5 days a week to help you make some green by going green.
And remember,
recycle for your future.
So thanks again to Mike Biasi and his crew in T-Town, the Gem City. Let's see, what do we have here? We get back into this breakfast. Over easy. Okay. All right. Now you dip. I would imagine if they're over easy, probably getting a little dip with the toast, maybe. That's always a good way to have them. It sounds like a good breakfast. I'll tell you what. Sounds like a really good breakfast. We need to make a trip. We made a trip to your house for breakfast. So anyways, does anybody have a favorite play-by-play guy, favorite news anchor, favorite politician that you just hear the voice and you know exactly who it is? And the guy that was like that was James Earl Jones, who passed away yesterday at the age of 93 years old. And the roles that he played and everything that he did, just outstanding contributor. And the interesting thing is, he, as we get back to breakfast, cooked garlic on the potatoes. Nice. I like it. The interesting thing about James Earl Jones, he grew up in rural Mississippi. And he had a stutter. When he left Mississippi, went to Michigan, and apparently his grandparents adopted him, and he had a severe stutter, and he overcame that learning poetry, I think. And then he overcame it, and he said he never totally get over it, but he overcame it and was able to succeed. So congratulations to him on that, because that's amazing. You think this guy had a stutter, he didn't want to talk, and he wouldn't say much, but then all of a sudden everything came out. Myron Cope. Myron Cope, good call. Absolutely. The inventor of the terrible towel. And Myron, I had the pleasure when I was working in Pittsburgh to cover Myron on a number of occasions, talk to him on a number of occasions, and just a nice man. And you get one of those. And I always remember when I first saw Myron Cope, and he was the everyman. Now the thing is, he was smarter than everybody. Tremendous writer, just a plethora of information. Just a really, really bright guy and a guy. But he was everyman. He related to everybody. And one of the things that I always found fun with Myron when I first started covering, and myself and Don Sloan, who of course we do Sports Friday on the Go on Friday nights. You can catch it on the app. You catch it on WTOV9. You catch it on the Facebook page, or not on the Facebook page, but the YouTube channel. We would go up to cover games back in the 90s, and I'd look over in the radio booth, and there's Myron Cope, and I see a little glass of beer next to him. And he's just having a little beer watching the game. And he just, he goes, if I'm watching the game at home and I'm going to have a little beer. So he did his thing, and people loved him. And he would make predictions and they'd be right. So yeah, Myron Cope, great call. Great call. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I was eating eggs yesterday, forgot about them, water boiled away. Then all of a sudden I hear explosions. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that'll get you going. You don't want to let that water boil all the way out. Now I did do this one time. I will admit this. And this was, let's see, I think it was for my daughter. So my daughter turns 21. Not tomorrow. What's today? What's the date today? Is today the 10th? Okay, so the 12th on Thursday. So when she was a baby, I came home from work. Ian's 3. He's intent watching the train show that he would watch every day, and everything was good. And he was buckled into his seat, what he was doing, and Isabella was in her crib, so everybody was good. Everybody was taken care of. So then I started to boil some water because I was going to boil some water for the bottles and all that stuff, and that you have to do for bottles and formula and everything. And I had been at work all day, got home and sat down on the couch while the water was boiling and fell asleep. And I remember waking up what is that smell? What is that smell? And basically the water had all boiled out of the pot. And I went in, and it was almost glowing red. And I got a towel, got it wrapped around, and this was wintertime. So I got the towel around the handle and was able to take it out onto the porch, and I threw it into the snow, and it just put steam up and everything. And I thought, wow, that was not good. That was not good. So I know what you're talking about when you have that water boiling and all of a sudden it's all gone. So that's a tough one. Let's see, I have 3 terrible towels, one for Mother's Day, one reason it's there over the time my grandson went to Italy, brought it for me. Yeah, I mean, that's tremendous. Terrible. And the thing was, it was in all the money that Myron brought in with the terrible towel, that went to a school for his son. I can't remember what the disability was. I apologize for that. But his son, he had to be go to the school. So to help pay for the school and the things that the school needed, funds from the terrible towel to this day, as far as I know, go to that school. So those terrible towels that people buy, they're actually supporting and helping kids that need help that wouldn't necessarily have the equipment and the teaching and everything that they need to have success and try and make themselves better if it weren't for the terrible towel. So that's one of those things where not a lot of people know about that. They see the towels and all the Steelers fans are here. Myron Cope came up with the idea and then, was smart enough to patent it and get a copyright on it and everything. And it has helped a lot of people because it has made a lot of money and it's helped people out. So Myron call, great call. by Nancy as Myron Cope. And again, a pleasure for me that I had the opportunity to meet him, talk to him in person, and get to know him just a teeny bit, just a teeny bit. Wouldn't necessarily say that I was friends with him or anything. Friendly with him. If I saw him, he knew who I was. I knew who he was. But didn't know him much more than that, just to do an interview. But he always treated me very well whenever I saw him, and he was a legend, absolute legend. And it was, part of it was great writer, great, thinker, great, motivator with a terrible towel for the fans. But it was that voice, how he broadcast the games, how he would present it in that voice. You just couldn't miss it. You say Myron Cope, someone's going to go, ha, and I know I'm not even close to what he sounded like, but it's on his noodle, or, all the different things he would say. He was absolutely outstanding. So he's one of those legendary voices. I would definitely include him in the legendary voices. So Nancy, good call on that one. So it is a Tuesday, and we are talking about voices. We are talking about James Earl Jones, and then we're talking a little bit about Myron Cope, Walter Cronkite. Yeah, John Madden, I think, would fall into that category. I think you would hear his voice and who he was right away. Or how about this one? Because of the way he would put his sentence structure together and everything else, how about Howard Cosell? I mean, he was the controversial guy, the controversial announcer. He would come out, tell you exactly what he was thinking, tell you exactly what he thought was going to happen. Didn't apologize for it. Had a relationship with Muhammad Ali where they became legendary friends, and he was a big supporter of Muhammad Ali when he was going through his trials and tribulations, when he decided not to go and serve in the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. And it's just he was one of those guys that he was a legend. And then that voice, everybody did Howard Cosell imitations back in the day. So he's another one. But today, maybe just think of those voices that we get to hear, and sometimes there might be somebody in your own neighborhood, or maybe a teacher that you had, or maybe a family member or a family friend, or a friend of yours that you just, whenever you hear their voice, you know exactly, and it's one of those voices that everybody grabs right away, and you realize who it is. So just one of those days, maybe, or put on a James Earl Jones movie, maybe put on Lion King, or put on Sandlot if you have younger kids, or if you're a baseball fan, put on Field of Dreams, or if you like Darth Vader. I mean, as much as everybody in those movies, it's good versus evil and everything. Darth Vader's Darth Vader. I mean, you were like, wow, he's really, he's the guy, as much as anybody else was. So if you have a chance, pick someone out, or maybe you have a favorite singer that has a voice you just hear and you say, oh man, I can't get enough of that. So this is a day for the voices. So enjoy the voices, everybody, that we get to hear. And I can't thank you enough for joining me for this 9-minute Phill-UP that has now gone over 20 minutes. That's usual. That's what we do. We always go over time. But I can't thank you enough for being here on this Tuesday, joining in. And hopefully we'll get to see you tomorrow. Hopefully you have a great day today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have another great day tomorrow. But remember, always 2 rules. Have fun and always try your best. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon.